Welcome back to Let's Play Oddworld, Abe's Oddysee. We have finally got the shrykull. The shrykull is really cool because it's a half paramite, half scrab creature that can kill things. There are two interpretations of it. One is the interpretation the Oddworld art book gives me, which is a creature that represents duality because it is both a paramite and a scrab. It's supposed to represent life and death, creation and destruction, etc., etc. Personally, I think it's a little bit loaded. I think the shrykull represents something much more simple. It represents the idea of being really, really cool. Look how cool that was! That was so cool! You just sapped everything! That was awesome! That's perhaps the one time Abe ever has, like, an immediate ability that could immediately attack and kill things. I'm pretty sure the shrykull was more of an advertising thing that was thrown in, because it was in all the commercials, and it's in the back of the CD cases and everything, but you barely get to see it. But I don't mind, because it's really cool. So, we're done with the nature stuff for good. We've left the mosaic lines forever, and we're going back to Rupture Farms. We're back at the stockyard. The stockyards. We're at the Free Fire Zone, the stockyard return, and immediately we're gonna have surprise slogs. Expect to see this a bit more often. The game likes to scare you a little bit, kind of make it almost impossible to predict that sort of thing. I guess you could have seen the sleeping slog in the screen before, but it's still kind of weird. So to get rid of this guy, I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but how I do it is I activate the sensors and then blow the slog up. Sometimes I don't fall off fast enough and the mine actually blows me up, but that happens very rarely. You blow up the slog, and the sensors are no longer a problem. That guy's still hanging out there. Poor guy. And really, that's a main theme, I guess, for the stockyard return, is that you kind of want to use these sort of obstacles to your advantage, which I guess can apply to all of the game most of the time, but especially in the stockyard return, I think it makes itself very apparent, kind of using your surroundings to either trick the traps into trapping themselves or making them useless. Something like that. It's not just enough to avoid tripping the traps. You gotta add another layer of thinking into it. Think with an open mind. Think outside the odd world. I like the fireflies that are here. They're very cute. I think that's worth showing off. I don't know. We got our rock. So, for example, in terms of not just avoiding the traps, you could completely make this trap useless by blowing that up, because now, when you walk through these, well, you're not really going to get anything done. Normally, that mine that we just blew up would be flying around as soon as we set off the trap, but because we blew it up beforehand, we don't really have anything to worry about. We can just walk back and forth without any issue, which is good because the next screen to the right is one heck of a thing, and I doubt you're going to be able to get through it your first time. Keep in mind that until after this screen, if you die at any point, you have to start right from the beginning of this area, which is really irritating. So yeah, these mines flying all over the place, it's kind of hard to get them all in one go because you only have 2 rocks. It's definitely possible because you can hit 2 mines with 1 stone, but it's kind of hard. It's hard. It's interesting that we see other planets in the background because the game none of the games ever really talk about them. The moons, the planets. I mean, we talk about the moons, I guess, but we never really, like, talk about them, you know? It's just, like, the whole Abe's paw on the moon just happens to be a coincidence. It's all very strange. Maybe New and Tasty will talk about it. I would hope so. It would be interesting, although Oddworld seems big enough already. For those who don't know, the area that Oddworld is in, the Mudos region, is just one sector of one continent of an entire world, and barely covers any ground. So there are some bats in the way here, and it looks like we seem to be a little bit trapped. This isn't really scary because we have one rock, and as long as you have the rock, you can just blow up at least some of these mines and move on ahead. If you didn't have a rock, then you would just have to run back by the slog and get more rocks. It's really not that simple. We just saved a lot of time. Or it really is that simple. And this is a really short video. This is a really short area. This is our last puzzle, so to speak. This is a little bit tricky because you can do some things wrong and kind of make it impossible to win, but it's also easy to die, so that's nice. So first you want to set off the UXB, then possess the Slig. Or he just walks into the mine, which is good too. And we could go to the right here. That's where all the scrabs were our first time through, but that guy's in the way, and there's no way to get past him. It's impossible. He'll shoot you before you will be able to do anything. If you were to get past him through a cheat or something, I'm pretty sure the game would just crash. What's interesting is that in the Oddworld instruction manual, there's actually pictures of the stockyards where there are paramites instead of scrabs. And I think that was meant to be the stockyard return, part of the stockyard return, but it never made it into the full game. So what we have here now is we want to blow up the slog with the last mine. We could just run and jump over the mine, but then the slog would get us.
Oops.
And that's it! That's all the puzzles done. We go down here, and when we get through this portal, we will be back where we started. And we will start saving dudes in the next video. I'll see you soon.